Welcome back to Introduction to Programming. This, the last video in our series, is number 26, and my name is John Duane. Well, this is the last video in the series, so it's time for you to practice what you learned and build some applications. I have some advice for you as you build your first few applications and some other things to think about. You have to learn the programming syntax, so most of it becomes second nature. You don't want to be spending all your time looking up the exact way to write common expressions. You want to spend your time designing the logical program flow and picking the right programming elements for the situation. And the only way to do this is to start working on projects, and it has to start with one project. Make it ambitious and something useful. If you are learning programming to help you in your job, then automate some task that you currently do manually. You'll likely have to look up almost all the expressions you'll need in that first project, but then you'll start remembering them when you need to use those expressions again. You'll probably do your research on the web. I would. When you do your internet searches, make sure you precede your search terms with VBA or VB. This will immediately give you search results you can use. For example, if you need the exact wording for a loop, then type VBA looping or VB for next loops into the search engine. The last thing you need is the wording used in Python for loops when you're writing an Excel macro. When you get those search results and a particular expression works in your code, there's two things I would do. First, make sure you understand why it works. If you do, you may be able to adapt it to a slightly different situation next time. And second, if you got the solution from a chat room, and you probably will get quite a few because that's a great source. So if it comes from a chat room, politely and succinctly thank the contributor. It's good internet manners. And finally, practice making good documentation. This means comments in your code and possibly a document separate from your code that explains what your program is doing. This will help the poor soul who has to fix your program when it breaks after you have left the company for the next big job. After you've absorbed the material in this video series and have written a few programs, you'll be ready to continue learning. There's too much to know to think you know it all. One place to start would be in my next video series on intermediate topics in programming. I'll cover things like sorting and searching and better in-memory data structures than arrays. There are also specialty areas that we did not cover at all. Connecting to databases and manipulating tables, records, and fields is a huge area. For that, you'll have to learn SQL, Structured Query Language, which all programmers should know. VBA and VB are also very good at automating other Microsoft Office applications, such as Outlook and Word and Access. And what about other languages? We spent nearly all of our time on the Visual Basic for Applications language, an offshoot of the old Visual Basic version 6, 1998 version. So even though you think there might be limited applicability to what we covered in this series, I would disagree. All the major general-purpose programming languages, Java, C, C++, the .NET languages, Ruby, Python, they all have the same general elements as VBA. So after learning this language, the other languages will be much easier to learn than if you started with them first. VBA is a really good place to start. So I strongly recommend learning another language, preferably one in the C family. They are widely used, which means that's where the jobs are. Plus, the C family of languages are loaded with more advanced features than VBA, which means your developer's toolbox will be better, which will make your applications better and your programming experience more pleasant. So why is all this important? If you've gotten this far and watched more than a handful of these videos, you must like something about computer programming. For each person, it's something different that appeals to them. For me, I like the feeling that I built something useful. It's fun for me to figure out the most efficient ways to do a task and how to capture that in computer code. Well, whatever it is for you, consider yourself lucky to like something that could be a game changer for your working career. In 2014 and in the foreseeable future, computer programmers, or developers as they're sometimes called, are in great demand, and the good ones are compensated very well. I've heard from IT recruiters that the unemployment rate for developers is around 0. So basically, if you want to hire a developer, that person's going to have to leave their current job to take your job. So stick with it, and your programming skills could lead to a great career. But let's say you don't want to be a developer, that you're happy on your current career path. Well, these programming skills are great tools for the knowledge worker no matter what the industry. Accounting, marketing, finance, any type of job that involves research or data analysis are perfect places for automating manual tasks that are done many times or a one-time task that is just very big. The idea is to automate away the drudgery so there's more time for analysis and creativity. So that's it. If you like this video series, please click the like buttons and leave comments. Tell your colleagues if you think they will benefit. I really appreciate that. And most of all, happy programming.